Recently, one of our viewers came to ask for advice in a comment, and I figured they must truly be desperate to come to us seeking actual helpful information. The short and fat of the situation here, folks, is that some people have handicaps that cause them challenges while trying to make their rootie tootie get fresh and fruity out on the range.
I'll have the rootie tootie.
Listen here, folks, I'm not talking about the usual glocktism or even people who like the Yankee Marshals content, but actual physical limitations. So today we're going to be making our best attempt to be helpful to those who might have an actual physical handicap. Before we get too far into the rhubarb here, I just want to make it clear that just because one of your senses isn't chooching at full capacity, or you might be missing an appendage, that does not mean I'm going to feel sorry for you. Same game here, folks. I personally think that handicapped people have way too many advantages as it is. They get all the good parking spots. Their bathroom stalls are essentially palatial estates. They have buttons to open doors in public buildings like freaking witchcraft, and they get taller tables at all the fast food joints. Sure, I can and do use all of those things without actually having a physical handicap, but I am sick and tired of walking that extra 40 feet from the regular parking spot into the door of a Culver's or Carl's Jr. Starting this thing off, let's talk about wheelchairs. In a lot of ways, this can be a total benefit instead of a handicap. The worst part about trying to do a stress shoot and getting made fun of for not being able to run as fast as everybody else is how tired my legs get. I honestly think I could climb Mount Everest or maybe even race in the Olympics if my legs didn't start feeling like wet linguine after moving my champion status dad bod further than the distance to the toilet. If you're intent on belly aching over the fact that you're permanently doing my third favorite thing ever, sitting all the time, I guess I can throw you a bone. My first tip is to put MOLLE attachments all over every textile surface of your chair and then use that instead of the plate carrier that you have. While it won't actually provide any protection, most guys just put cardboard in their plate carriers anyways because plates are heavy. Make sure at least one pouch has a Red Cross symbol on it so people think you actually spent money on first aid equipment, and then you have a sweet spot that no one's ever gonna look in to store your lukewarm cheeseburgers for awesome on-the-range snacks. That is a pro tip if I've ever heard one. Also, stick to AR pistols, SBRs, pistols, or those weird other firearms that look like a shotgun with that little suspected dingus on the back. Next up, make sure to lock the brakes on the chair if you plan on shooting anything larger or heavier than a .308, or anything in full auto. This is going to make sure you don't go cruising in reverse right back to the pro shop counter. Trust me, most employees and customers frown at the sight of old Ricky rocketing off the firing line with his MG at full chooch. Are you hard of hearing? Maybe got tinnitus, probably have it now. I see any sort of disability as an absolute superpower that should be abused at any given moment. Oh, and I will try to remember to actually put subtitles in this video for your benefit and not just for the algorithm.
That's rad.
If you have trouble hearing normal things and not just being told that you do by your wife, but an actual clinical diagnosis, it will be really easy for you to completely ignore the rangemaster yelling at you about your rate of fire. Use a steel-cased ammo, or asking where your stamp is for that fully automatic AR that you fixed with a coat hanger and some sketchy internet history.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over my military-grade tinnitus. What?
If he tries to kick you off the range, you can say things like, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I have a disability. Are you trying to violate the Americans with Disabilities Act? Should I be calling the newspaper?" Or, "Hey, fuck you, dude." And if you're feeling real froggy, possibly all of these in rapid succession, just for fun. Don't let anyone ever tell you that a little hearing loss is a disadvantage or disability, unless it plays to your advantage. Then go ham.
I'll allow it.
Do you have trouble with your eyesight? Some people might say that the shooting sports aren't for you. To those naysayers out there, I say you're just jealous, bitch. When you can't see what you're shooting at, you always have an excuse for sucking at shooting. "Oh, my prescription's a little expired. Sorry about your leg there, bud. Didn't see you standing there." Or, "Cram it, lady. Those kids shouldn't have been on the sidewalk if they didn't know the risks." Oh boy, folks, just remember that was a joke. Also, every solo trip that you make, you can easily claim that every round landed in a tight 1-inch hole, there's a joke in there somewhere, at 400 yards without feeling like a liar. For all you know, they actually did. How the hell are you supposed to be able to tell the difference when you can't even see your nose without squinting? Oh boy, Eric is gonna get us all canceled here, folks. Next up, let's talk about carpal tunnel, weak grip, freakishly small hands, or just plain old limp wrists. This often causes trouble gripping your firearm with the proper intensity, which should be slightly softer than when Thor grabs his hammer and shoots lightning all over when watching WandaVision at 2 a.m. while the rest of the Avengers are asleep. That's gross.
That's nasty.
This can actually be a real problem, especially if your dream is to dual wield 357 Magnum wheel guns down the streets of Zanzibar when we finally decide to get rid of the rampant Zanzibarians terrorizing the regular Zanzibarians. I suggest that you stick to lighter calibers, or at least calibers that aren't terribly high pressure. If the Yankee Marshall wasn't enough deterrent for you, this is just one more reason to avoid 40 cal. It's also a great deterrent from buying those stupid 380 pocket guns, because you're going to want all the purchase that you can afford while gripping a handgun. Missing some fingers or even an entire arm is something that can be really tough to deal with in life. So here's the scoop on how to fulfill your desire to plant those freedom seeds. Did you know that an octopus can regrow its arms? I mean, you probably did, right? Everybody knows that. Here's something you might not know. Since octopi are bilaterally symmetrical, if you cut one straight down the middle and separate both sides, it's gonna die.
No way. Yes way.
Stick with me on this one. You'll see where it's going. Step 1, no matter how you lost your fingers and or arms, you should both avoid deep bodies of water and then make sure you blame your disfigurement on work. Now this should be really easy if you have a blue collar job, as table saws are everywhere and they show no mercy to our soft fleshy bags of meat that we call our bodies. If you work in a white collar occupation, you're probably gonna have to get a little bit more creative here. But there are paper shredders everywhere, and with the right amount of ketchup and screaming, you should be able to fool almost everyone.
Hey, watch this.
Jesus Christ!
Step B, I guess, file a massive lawsuit against both your employer and the manufacturers of the contraption that may or may not have turned your appendages into spare parts. Step 3 is to take the entirety of your winnings from that lawsuit and get into bench rest shooting. You could try to join this sport without the bajillions of dollars of somebody else's money, but if you could afford that, you wouldn't be watching this channel. If you aren't familiar with bench rest shooting, it's when people build firearms that can only be technically considered guns based on their shape and form, and they have fewer ergonomics than a Soviet government designed box. Then people just throw money at these contraptions to find out whose is the most accurate. It's just barely shooting, but it doesn't require a lot of dexterity. Now I think it's high time that you dropped a like for the video and make a comment down below for the algorithm. Thanks for watching, folks, and make sure to check out these two cripplers right here. Okay, come on, that was pretty funny. And don't forget to join us next week. We still don't know what the fuck we're doing. Shit, this is gonna make it into a newspaper somewhere. Well, here we go.